Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back once again to the Stinkbug Works, that super secret research and development division of Dr. Jet Laboratories. Anyway, I've got the 12-inch rigger here on the board, and talk about the successful run I had the other day, and what little modifications I've done as a result of that run, and talk about when I get to run this again. And we're also going to talk about the 12-inch challenge and the upcoming challenge. So let's get to it. Okay, first of all, directional stability wasn't quite as good as I had hoped, and my rudder had a lot of slop in it. You can go back and look at my previous video, and you can see that I used a bolt. I think it was a M2, might have been M1.5, but it was a real small little bolt going down in the pivot here, and the rudder had more slop than it should. So I used a piece of 16th inch capillary tube, and then a little tiny fine piece of copper wire that I zoom in here. Can you see that? Where's my finger? Little piece of copper wire that goes through that capillary tube to the bottom and then is just bent over here on the bottom. You can see where I bent it right here. You can see where I bent it on the bottom. Anyway, that has drastically tightened up the slop in my rudder, and I think it'll give me much better directional stability. It was just a little bit off in those prior runs. I've since switched the Driveline to the one that will accommodate these 1/8 inch drive dog props. Right now I have an Octura X427 that I've balanced and sharpened and thinned, and I've reshaped to where it has the shape of where is it? Where it has the shape of an Octura P-Series prop, as opposed to the X Series. So we'll see how that works. I've used this prop on a couple of hulls before, and it worked really well. So I'm thinking it'll work pretty good on this. Something that surprised me: the one and only competitor thus far in the 12-inch challenge, and he's right now he's in first, second, and third place. His entry, that would be Big B, of course. His entry used this motor. Now, this motor is just a slightly higher kV than the 4,800 RPM per volt Surpass motor that I'm using. Now, I picked this motor because my calculations said that using this motor will be the least likely to let out the magic smoke. But Big B is running this slightly higher kV motor on 2S and a couple of times on 3S. And based on the size of battery he's using to get 10 laps, these things are not drawing the insane current that my calculations said they would. So I may opt to go up in kV. Now, I've got a bunch of 2030 motors. I've got one that's slightly less kV than this at, I think this one's 4650. I think this one's 3500. I've got a 3000. I've got a bunch of these Surmark 2030 motors that are actually 2400 RPM per volt. So not sure what I'm going to do with this. Anyway, this little motor here is an interesting little 2030 motor. It's got fins on the case, and I actually used this in one of the hulls that I'm thinking of basing the next Dr. Jet Challenge around, and this motor proved to be far too powerful for the hull design that I want to use. Anyway, so back to this thing. I think I'll have better directional stability. I'm happy with the sponson layout, so I got rid of the tape and used some shrink tube on there. I didn't have enough red, so I thought it'd be clever to go port and starboard, but you know, that's that. So because I live in the People's Republic of California and places to run model boats are somewhat limited, I'm sort of reduced to running only on Mondays, but this coming Monday is Memorial Day, and so Lake Poway is going to be open for picnics and all that, and there's not going to be any lake use, so I won't get to run this on Monday. I could possibly go down there on Tuesday and run it. Monday and Tuesday, there's no fishing, and that's when they allow this sort of use of the lake. If there's fishing, there's no model boats because, oh, we might scare the fish if they only knew. Anyway, so this challenge is winding up as of today, which is somewhere towards the end of May. I have one semi-entry. Big B has actually built a hull and done 10 laps around 2 buoys, but it's not really his official entry, but it does put him in first place and second place and third place. Now, if you don't want to see Big B get all the prizes, then build something and send in your evidence, a video or sworn affidavit. I don't care. Yeah, I think I gave you the option of something like that. But come on, guys, build something like this. It's a hoot. These things really boogie. They're cheap to build. I mean, geez, a motor is $20. A really good speed control is $20 or $30. There's what, $5 worth of wood in this thing. That's part of the reason why I kind of like to focus on these small boats. I think they're really challenging because there are so many other little dynamics that don't come into play when you're building the big ones. You know, getting your fingers in here is just one challenge. Finding a motor coupler, you know, you've got to be creative. Finding a rudder that works. You got to be creative with these little things. And that's going to be the subject of Dr. Jet's next challenge. Without revealing too much, I'm going to say we're going to build a hull of a given size. It's going to be small. We're going to build a hull of a given size and type, and we're going to make it out of a material that's cheap because I want these to be fast, cheap, and out of control. These are fast, cheap, and sometimes out of control. So this challenge is it's going to be over in 5 or 6 weeks. And then we're going to go on to Dr. Jet's next challenge of a small boat. And I'll let you in on a little bit of it. I'm going to give you all kinds of latitude. My next challenge, I'm going to say you can use any motor, any battery, anything. But I'm going to give you a hull that's really easy to overpower. And in some of my earlier experiments with this hull, it went from boat to rocket ship space shuttle launch to submarine to fish swimming along sideways underwater, back to space shuttle. So I'm going to give you something, and I've actually got them to run pretty good, but I think they can run a lot better. And so I'm going to throw it out to everybody to see if they can come up with a power system that will power this hull of this size and this construction. It's going to be fast, cheap, and out of control. So anyway, I had to post a new video just to keep things going and just to pimp the 12-inch challenge. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. I've got some cool prizes out there. I mean, a 1/20th scale short circuit kit with everything except a battery and a receiver. And then, of course, I've got that little fiberglass Mowgli haul. And, oh, yeah, I've got that little small bolt hydro. So any one of those is going to be a cool prize. Whoever wins those is going to have cool stuff. So, guys and girls, get to working on your project and send in your results. Until then, jet out.